Good afternoon and welcome back to Withrow Urban Homestead. Today is May 17th and it's time to plant our GreenStalk planters and clean up any winter debris. Bought me these flowers for Mother's Day, but they're not happy here in the full sun. So let's get them moved over to the side of the house. Impatiens will be perfect for that shady location. I also have some trailing rosemary. It's not going to be the ideal location for it, but I really want to grow it over there. A few of our squash have germinated, but none of the marigolds or the zinnias or the basil. I think it just got too hot under those greenhouse domes. So I've taken those off, added a little bit of soil, and watered. So we'll see if anything germinates. I unstacked the green stalks in the fall to give them more access to rain during the winter. And the last 2 years I've covered them with fleece. But the most recent fall I decided not to cover them. I want to see what plants will come back from the cold winter. Let's see how many of each color we have. So we only have 4 packs that are the same colors. Everything else is a mixture. This one actually has an apricot and a white. This is a mixture of red and some pinks. I put them with the other pinks. I like to grow my flowers in a diagonal of all the same color. So each green stalk will have a diagonal of the same color, but others are going to have to be a mixture. These are going to go in these green stalks. These are going to go along here. Plant these in these containers. The ones left over, I'll decide what to do with those later. Each tier has one strawberry plant for greenery, an empty spot for flowers, creeping Jenny for greenery, and that will cascade down. And then there's a third spot for herbs, but most of the herbs did not survive the winter. I've seen 2 that came back. Now they'll come back if I cover them with fleece, so herbs might not be the best perennial option for me. Some of the sweet alyssum from the fall has self-seeded. So I'm going to clean up the old plants from the winter, plant these new flowers, feed these, it needs feeding, and then protect everything from digging squirrels. The strawberries along here don't have high production because it only gets 2 hours direct sun every day. But we do have some small little fruit. The birds got to this one. So the next one over is empty. I'm going to go ahead and plant the pink flowers. So I need to remember, the pink flowers are to the left of the strawberries. I want everything to be uniform. Squirrels will hide their peanuts in here, and it's my own fault because I feed them. Now, if you've seen in the recent videos the 4 baby squirrels that lost their mother, they're doing good. They tend to come later in the day. They wait for the bigger squirrels to eat, but they're really in their awkward phase. They're still figuring out how to jump. They smell things like non-food things like wood mulch and decide, oh, that's not good to eat. They remind me of toddlers. Winter savory. It came back well after the winter. Now, it wasn't here in March, April, beginnings of the showing. It's just been recently, now in May, that it started to grow again. Now let me show you this empty pocket that wasn't protected. What happens? I found peanut shells. We're going to put a mixture of colors of flowers to the left of the herbs. This hardware cloth and landscape pins are left over from when I raised quail. They were from the aviary. So some of them are quite used, and it can be kind of difficult to get the pins in. So we had fall sweet alyssum, so I'm curious how much of it's self-seeded. There's a little bit in there. They're kind of tiny. We're going to trim off the old and leave those babies to see if they'll grow. All along here. Oh, another peanut shell. This is last year's stock. It just never really grew here. It doesn't like the shade. So we're going to plant, we planted it in the front this year. We'll see if it grows. For my high production strawberries in the garden, I trim all the runners. But for these pots, because I'm growing it for greenery, I'll leave the runners. Help it fill out the pot. To the left of the strawberry is pink. I want these consistent. Next is the herb pocket, and we do have Greek oregano, and it is coming back. I decided to plant red. Gently tease the roots because these are a little bit root bound. This was snapdragons or petunias, some kind of annual flower. It wouldn't grow back. Left of the strawberries is the pink. Creeping Jenny. It'll die off in the winter, but it always comes back in the spring, and it'll cascade down the GreenStalk. So we have an empty pocket, and then we need to have the herb. This used to be thyme, and it didn't get watered enough in the summer, so it died. It died even before the winter. So now we're going to plant a variety of color in that pocket. No, this is wrong. It doesn't match the others. I need to move the Creeping Jenny and make it match the tier before. So these used to not be stacked together. That's why they're a little bit off. Now that's right.
I need to move the creeping Jenny in this one too. Now they all match. Next, we're going to put a white flower. A few baby sweet alyssum in there. But I need to add some protective hardware cloth. One more to go. These pink and these apricot. It's way over there. Again, last year we had thyme here and it died. One lived through the summer, but not through the winter. There's some old thyme right there. So we're going to move the creeping Jenny over. And we'll plant the apricot flower in that pocket. I'm not going to stack them up today because I learned that plants do best started in the pockets where the tiers aren't stacked, either plants or seeds, because when they're stacked up, the pocket kind of gets shaded. So this gives the plants more time to grow. Then later, you can stack them up. It can be kind of awkward once the plants are in there. You got to be careful and not crush them and kill them. That's from the creeping Jenny. There's a few sweet alyssum in there too. You see them right there? That's what those are. Now these 5 are ready and I need to water them in. The bright colors, that's nice. Now you go do whatever you need to do and come back after I finish planting all of them. All done. I still need to protect some of them, but I'll do that later. I did find more herbs. They just need more time to grow. come back and see what happens with these green stalks and see if the rosemary survived. You see that I planted it? And the flowers are going to bush out and what the towers look like stacked. Thank you for visiting Withrow Urban Homestead. See you later. Bye-bye.